The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello, this is April and Eric with Learn, Do, Become Radio. Today we're going to talk about how to not feel overwhelmed by routines and responsibilities. And this is basically for me because I tend to start feeling overwhelmed more often than Eric does. Eric really never feels overwhelmed, so we need to have this discussion.
We don't need to have this discussion.
Okay, I need to have this discussion.
I had thought that a lot of our initial podcasts, maybe most of our podcasts, would be more aspirational and looking toward the higher values of life. But apparently we're going to talk about some of the crazy nuttiness of our real lives. And
because I think other people have crazy nuttiness in their lives as well.
We're the only ones. We are the only people who have that. So April, one of our initial takes, actually said, "We are so excited to record this podcast." And I'm like, no, I'm not excited. This should be an I am excited from your part. Anyway, more backstory than you needed there, but we've been having a good conversation. We kind of finished our kind of weekly planning session to kind of figure out the next 10 days. We usually do those on a Friday morning, and so just kind of squaring away stuff that needs to happen in the next 10 days and just kind of walking through some of these routines and responsibilities. At the top of our little outline here, April had written R&R as part of the intro, and I had thought she meant rest and relaxation.
I said no.
And she's all about routines and responsibilities. So can you guess whose blood pressure is generally higher?
I know. Okay, well, I will admit I'm more of a type A personality. I like to make lists. I like to get things done. You also make lists.
I make lists.
And you also get things done.
And I don't freak out and kill myself over them.
But you don't freak out. But here's my
April
problem.
gets more done than I do. I will say that.
I do get more done, but if it's costing me my sanity and if it's making me crazy, is it really worth it?
Like quality of sleep, how would you rate yours on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think I sleep well. I just dream crazy.
You dream crazy, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much sleep you get.
No, I go to sleep fine, and when I go to bed, I'm fine. I'm not stressed about what I'm doing, but I think I have more of a perfectionist mentality.
When you're awake, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you have stuff cycling around in your head still? Even though you've got a great system to manage details, how much are you worrying about routines and
I'm not worried about what I need to do. I'm more often thinking I'm a failure because I think I should be doing more. I think that's my problem. Because I have my lists and I have my projects and I have my emails and all of that totally under control. But I think that I give them too much importance in my life than I should. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, here's the issue. I think if we can articulate it a little bit better, other people might be able to relate more. I have this specific list written down, most of it written down, some in my head, of everything that I need to do to make my day perfect. And this has been something I've been dealing with for my whole life, pretty much, and especially since we've been married, I think, because then I feel like I want to keep the family going, and I have all these areas of responsibility as we've gotten older. Yes? Would you agree?
Yeah, so I would ask 2 questions about that list. Is it, and I think I already know the answers to them, is that list helpful to you being productive? And I would guess the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. But is the second question, is that list beneficial to you?
Well,
and it's probably a yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay, well, so there's a couple different areas. There's some areas for things like running a home and a family. Okay, got grocery shopping every week. We want to clean up the house every day. I like to make the bed every morning. You know, there's things like that are basic routines for the house. But then running a platform, when there's something like we even talked about Learn to Become, this is our new project, we're excited. I've gone to a ton of conferences and learned a lot about what you want to do if you're running a platform. And if I were to do everything that I've learned, I would be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest all day long.
You listen to a specialist in every one of those areas, and every one of them are speaking because that's their forte. That's what they do.
Right.
And then people who go to these types of conferences may come home thinking, I've got to go now do 17 things at my best and integrate them all.
Yes, writing and podcasting and
as we were
programs.
talking about just some things this morning in our planning session about things we wanted to do for this Learn to Become community, like we're excited about them, but she's like, I want to draw a great big list and put it up in a place where we can kind of see kind of the routines and just the way we're going to do this all in a structured way. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, that sounds like you want to build a machine and then chain yourself to it as its slave. And I kind of joked. I said, if you make that list, I will light it on fire for you. Because we want this community absolutely to have things that are valuable to you coming out. But I really just kind of dig my heels about the idea of saying we are going to produce a podcast for you every single Wednesday. Look for it in your subscription, in your podcast.
Or I read a book last night that was saying you should send emails every single day.
I'll be honest, I don't want to hear from myself every single day. Nobody else does. So I think we go more on the model of when we have things that are of value and worthwhile that will help people that have helped us, we'll share them.
Yeah.
And I think people, I would love to be part of a community like that. Or as opposed to, I'm going to get emailed to or podcasted at or marketed to like clockwork
all the time
on a machine. It's exhausting on the people who are part of that community. And I think for the people who are building that and working with that and managing it, wow. Like, if you want that, good luck.
Well, and I think today we're not just talking about learn to become and running a platform. I think we're talking about a bigger picture as far as whatever job you do in your home or your family or in your profession. How do you set up your expectations for yourself, and how do you live each day feeling excited about what you're accomplishing and not feeling like a failure?
Or, I love this thing that I've seen on Facebook, the Facebook recently. You'll always hear me referring to it as the Facebook. But there was like a little picture. My daughter tells me they're not called memes unless they have big white words on them. Adults don't understand what those are, apparently. But I love the phrase that says, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? And so, I mean, we really want to maintain our lives, our homes, our families, the work we do, the organizations we're part of, so they're not circuses full of monkeys that are just hard to manage and just drive us crazy. So I've tossed that around here a little bit in our pre-conversation with April here, and it makes her crack up. So I promise if I use it throughout the balance of the podcast, I'm not being mean or condescending. It's just nobody wants to be running a circus full of monkeys. So how do we eliminate the circus from our lives?
Well, and I love the book Essentialism. You and I have been reading that, listening to the audiobook by Greg McKeown. And I couldn't find it in the book this morning, but I listened to it the other day where he was talking about a man who had taken over a new position. And there was this one report that had been regularly sent out. I think it was a weekly report. And he looked at it and thought, I really don't think that report's essential. I'm going to cut it out and just not do the report for a few weeks and see what happens. So he stopped doing the report and actually found that there was no negative impact on the company by not doing that report. And something like that, I think, is really eye-opening to us. And so what I would like to do is look more at the routines and responsibilities that I have set up in my own head or in my life and really decide, how do you figure out what to edit? How do you figure out what you can just completely take out or minimize or stop doing? So how do you personally decide that?
Well, real quick, what percentage of your overall routine set do you think falls into that category? That if it dropped out entirely or just went into a less predictable schedule would be really that noticed?
Well, I mean, it depends. There's things like washing the car. I can go for a good 6 to 8 weeks without washing the car.
I could go 6 to 8 months.
Okay, all right. But then you start feeling
I'm
like
joking,
every
but
time I get in the car, it looks kind of gross, and the windshield needs to be washed, or it needs to be vacuumed. So I think it's just deciding what quality of cleanliness do you want around you? How sharp do you want to be? How involved do you want to be in different communities or in your profession?
But then another way to look at that is why. But see, you put yourself, and I kind of give April kind of the feedback sometimes that she often puts herself in the center of everything.
Yeah,
like you could say, oh, this van, this car is a little bit dirty. We need to get that cleaned. And talk to one of your children who is of age, could definitely do that. Mm-hmm. Not a perfect job, but it gives them work, it gives them something to do, keeps them busy during the summer months, and say, I would like to see this car as clean as you can get it. Can you spend an hour or so doing that?
Yeah. Now
the car became clean. You are not in the middle of that. And you don't have to sit there and put yourself that mental anguish every day you get in the car for those 6 to 8 weeks. It's just pulling yourself out of the circus.
Okay, and I agree. And I think we can look at my list and we can look at your list and we can identify a lot of things that don't really have to be done. But I think that goes back to one of my deepest fears is that I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit around and do nothing and live this life of mediocrity. And I can't handle that mentally. I want to be progressing
But see, I would challenge that. I think most people, there isn't that real fear because, to the tagline that we have on Learn to Become, architect a life of excellence, People want better. People want to strive toward excellence. So if they're not being burdened down by all the mundane, the trivial, this systemic kind of required stuff that's out there, they will naturally incline toward other things, other activities that will develop the best side of them. So that's just a theory I have. I think it's probably true.
And I think you're right. I think that that's something that I want to learn how to do, because when I read like the book Essentialism, or when you and I have these conversations, I do start breathing more deeply, and that's something I have a hard time with usually.
You start breathing.
I start breathing because Eric will be watching me while I'm handling emails or doing projects, and he'll say, April, you're not even breathing. Can you please just take a breath, relax a little bit. You don't have to be so tense or so uptight. And I want to be better at that. I really do. I don't want to be stressed out. But I think in the back of my mind, one of my problems is that I feel like there's a bunch of people out there with a clipboard, with my clipboard of all my routines and responsibilities, and they're monitoring me and evaluating my worthiness as a person or my value as a person by how much I accomplish, because I do that to myself sometimes.
So as you are sitting there at home, if you're one of these people listening who has that clipboard, please in the comments section let April know that you have the clipboard and how she's doing in general.
Can I see a picture of it?
Because there are hundreds and thousands of people out there with a clipboard monitoring your personal performance. I mean, the question I was thinking of when she brought that up earlier is, think of all the newsletters that you have subscribed to in one capacity or another. Just all these different email reports or newsletters from people, you enjoy hearing from. They give you value or insight. Can you tell me this week who has not sent you an email if you've signed up to be on their email newsletter list? Can you even tell me who didn't?
Yeah, not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
So when you get something from them, if it's a value, great, you'll read it. If you get something and you didn't have time to read it, it'll often get unopened and deleted. That's just it. I mean, we think people are out there monitoring our productivity, our progress, our performance much more than they are. And that may be a big stumbling block for people. And I think all of us suffer from it. I mean, I think we all want to put our best foot forward, but to feel like if I don't put out one podcast per week and 2 newsletters or emails per week, and if I don't
post on social media
every 30 seconds, and make sure it's the very best photo I possibly could have taken of that thing, it's like...
Yeah, that's too much. Okay, but let me ask you this question. I was listening to someone who runs an amazing YouTube channel. They have a lot of influence, that they're really living their passion. They're doing a great job. This is how they fund their family. So fantastic YouTube channel. And they said, you want to make sure you post at the same time every week, because it's kind of like a TV show that comes on, at 8 o'clock on Friday night or whatever. But you want to post at the same time every week, because if you don't, then people will start sending you emails or messaging you and saying, hey, where is it? Because people look forward to your content.
Do you know why they send you emails?
Because they missed what you had to offer.
No, because you told them you'd be out there every Wednesday at 8.
Okay, but there are podcasters I listen to, or there are people whose blogs I read, and when I go back and check their podcast and check their blog and they haven't posted something, I am kind of like, well, where are you? I'm looking for you. I want this continuity in my life. Okay,
so the solution to that, and I've seen a lot of people in the past use it, has been something like an RSS feed, where you're not, don't go out there looking for the people's content. Let it come to you. And when it pops up on your radar, you're like, oh, great. I love hearing from that person. I would prefer to approach a mindset like that. And I'm not putting aside or diminishing any of the things other experts have said in this regard. Some people, that's a framework that they want to use. And they might say, statistically, we get a 10% better whatever by doing that. I'm willing to trade off sometimes, quite often, that extra 10% pickup for the quality of life, not being in the middle of the circus with a bunch of monkeys. Like the monkeys running around your head, you're like, you know what? If people are running it more on an RSS model, where the cool stuff I get, where the cool stuff that we might produce or share, pops up in their inbox or pops up in their podcast subscription and saying, oh, hey, there's a new podcast here you might want to listen to. Like, oh, that's great. I love these guys. They're not sitting there stewing for the past 5 days. Where is the next podcast? Why can I not hear their voices exactly at 8 o'clock on Wednesday?
Okay.
Where's my clipboard? I really think sometimes people beat themselves up for structure.
And I agree. And the reason why we're talking about this is because I think I've done this to myself my whole life, where I put myself on a hamster wheel. And it's literally myself putting myself on the hamster wheel. No one else is telling me I have to do it. There's no real expectation. But I decide this is the circus, and these are the monkeys that I'm
You
going.
promoted yourself to ringmaster, and you rehired yourself in your own circus.
And then I chain myself to it, and I become a slave to my own
Is it fun?
list. It's not fun. That part's not fun at all. Now, is it fun to be able to live my passion and create content I love or connect with people? Yeah, that
Absolutely.
is fun. I like that.
But where is it written in order to do that and to have an influence on a community or a group of people of like-minded people who all just kind of share in those same interests and passions? It has to be done only one specific way, and that's the only right way.
It's not written that way. It's just that seems to be what everybody else does.
Oh.
So that tends to be.
Did your mom ever ask you a question about something like that in high school?
Okay, I get it.
I think all of our moms did.
I get it.
Involving cliff jumping and stuff like that.
Well, that's why we're having this conversation, and that's why we're involving our community, because here at Learn, Do, Become, Eric and I don't want to be chained to some crazy hamster wheel. We don't want to make a circus, and we don't want to feel like we're just trying to produce content and put stuff out and try to keep up with some crazy schedule out there that really isn't required. But what we do want to do is impact the lives of others for good and bring people on this journey with us. That's why we're recording. That's why we're doing this. But it's not one more thing to cause stress or anxiety or frustration. And I'm saying this more for me. I told Eric, let's just record this together and I will listen to this podcast over and over.
All started off about an hour ago where April's like, well, we need to record a podcast. We need to record something right now. Do you want to record a podcast with me? And I'm like, about what? Well, and we have this list of things we are dying to get to in podcasts. I'm like, I'd like to think about it for a little bit, have a rough outline of it. And then we go into this discussion about how we need to be consistent and all this. And I said... So she's like, this would make a great podcast. And I really think this is her backdoor way of just forcing me onto her schedule, forcing me into her hamster wheel.
It was not, I promise.
Because now you've got another podcast that you can put together and put out there.
I do have another podcast now.
So podcast listeners of the world, rejoice.
Okay.
It's here. This episode is now created because... April's sneaky.
No, seriously. Well, because on my list of things to do today was to...
Manipulate husband, record podcast. You can check that one off right now. Where's your marker?
I've got some other fun things planned later, so that's okay.
That's questionable. What does that mean?
So one of the things that I had on my list for today was to create a routines and responsibilities list for Learn, Do, Become. Because we've just started this...
And my list has find lighter.
To light my list on fire. No, we're not light on fire. I just need to be able to figure out what are really, really manageable things that I can do.
And I support you in making that list.
Okay.
To the extent you're okay occasionally, whenever it's necessary, whenever it's essential, to miss something on that list. Okay. And I think that's something that you struggle with, and I think a lot of people out there who are, very much into structure and follow through, I get it. Don't think I'm diminishing follow through and getting things done. But it's just that ability to have flexibility and to allow the moment to, if something comes up that's better or more needed, not to let that hang over your head for the rest of the day, the rest of the week. Oh, I didn't get to that. I didn't do that the way I told myself I would. Like, that's a place where I think we cause ourselves a lot more mental angst than is necessary. And that's just my opinion, my 2 bits.
I think that's good. And I think what I'm getting from this conversation is I need to set up my expectations for myself so I have a lot of options. If I set it up where there are no options and I have no choice and I've got this specific schedule put together that I have to maintain, or else I think I'm a failure and I'm going to be discouraged and snapping at you or whatever. And people with clipboards will be unhappy. And people's clipboards will be unhappy. I'm setting myself up to have a really miserable life. But if I can say, hey, here's 5 goals I'm excited to accomplish this month. I'm committed to making them happen and I'm really excited about it. But I have options in place where if I have a low day, a low energy day, or if an opportunity comes up to do something really meaningful with my family, or if I just feel like there's something else that really is a higher priority, that I have the option to take that and I'm not just chained to something that I've committed to do.
Right. It's the concept of a choice list instead of a task list. And that ports over to roles and responsibilities as well. Those are predefined. Those are the things you'd like to get to.
Yeah.
But they can always be superseded by real circumstance and real need. Now, some people who have maybe a weaker character will always be looking for the way to just lean away from that and get away from what they had said they would do.
Yeah.
You're not that way. And I think most of the people who are part of this community are not that way.
Right.
We're aspiring, but we need to give ourselves a little bit of grace, a little bit of cushion, margin, to say in the moments or the days when things just aren't working out, take the space and do not beat yourself up about it. Don't let it swirl around your head, because literally that's where I think a lot of our mental health declines.
Yeah.
And that leads to emotional and physical decline as well. Just give yourself that margin, step away, and do what you need to do, knowing that you're going to come back and hit it out of the park the next time around.
Yeah.
But don't carry it with you. It's unnecessary baggage.
Thank you.
I didn't really help do anything. I'm here recording a podcast against my will. She shut our little office door, made me turn off my fan so it's getting warmish in here.
I'm sorry.
And I don't think I'm getting any food unless I recorded this podcast. So if it's been as helpful to you as it's been to me, I'm very glad.
I did say 20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. We're going to close now.
I'm glad. And I mean, if we are not, experts on this topic or any other here, but if you have other thoughts or suggestions, things that have worked for you in kind of really breaking away from the chains of a task list or routines and responsibilities in a way that provides that flexibility and that ability to live life and make those choices, and it's been effective we'd love to have you share that in the comments or on Facebook. Just let us know some of the things that we definitely want to be something we're learning together, because we could have done this whole podcast from the other side of the coin saying, Eric, why don't you have more firm and fixed roles and responsibilities and more routines in your life? And equally fair question. I mean,
would you have recorded that podcast with me?
Possibly, maybe someday down the road. And I mean, in honesty, I have, some routines and I have some things that I've already carved out. And do I always stick to them? No. And do I feel like I wish I would have been better? Absolutely. But that's the whole nature of life. We're striving. We're doing this whole growing process, step by step, little by little. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm not going to carry it around with me the rest of the day, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Head hits the pillow. I want a good night's rest so I can get up the next day and do my best. So, and just one last closing thought. April's talked about in kind of some of the organizational stuff that she's done that you want to be able to go to bed content and wake up excited. And that becomes kind of a daily cycle where you wake up excited, you go to bed that night content because you've done your best. And she is an amazingly organized, everything that she's talked about, I don't want anybody to think that, the things that April has said or done or taught don't work. They do. She's got a phenomenal structure built up, a system that works for her. She gets more done than almost anyone I've ever met. But sometimes the way she perceives what she's supposed to do and how she's supposed to do it is what weighs on her. And it allows it to steal her peace of mind. So I, as much as anything, I hope this will be worth releasing out to the world. But if nothing else, for her to know, okay, enough is your best is enough, right? Your best effort is enough.
Thanks, hon. I don't know if I should stop the recording right now or just keep going. I'll just kind of give a couple closing words. I'm feeling a little emotional right now just because, this is one of the things that weighs on me every day. It's just this question of, am I doing enough? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And you've been really helpful to me to help me to be able to breathe and not be so hard on myself and not to feel so overwhelmed, especially over things I can't control. Because life isn't simple. There's a lot of different things you and I are dealing with, helping our parents as they get older. We have 4 children we're raising, running a household. It might be able to hear the door slamming downstairs and all the things going on. People are running in and out of the house and playing, and kids are doing their things. But it means a lot to me to be able to have these conversations with you and be able to feel this support and to have permission to be human. I think that's something that I need to give myself more. And I appreciate the time that you take. We've had these conversations a lot.
We've had 17 years of really good conversations on both sides of the fence, right? It's kind of this, but maybe one of the things that maybe the topic may or may not be helpful to people, but maybe one of the things we're hoping maybe comes through is the ability for husbands and wives, spouses to talk to each other in a way that, you can kind of reason through and think through what's happening and how to address based on our circumstances, based on our personalities and characters, figure out the best ways to move forward, because every person, every couple will be unique.
Yeah, but we want to enjoy our life together. We don't want to be stressed out. You make a funny face when I say that. Like, hello, isn't that obvious?
Less stress. We should not be introducing any additional stress in our life. Life is stressful enough. So the more we can do for ourselves and for each other as couples, and to do for the other, to reduce the stress, to simplify life. I mean, I'm a big fan of simplicity. I wear a red, maybe some of the photos down the road, you'll see a little red wristband on my wrist. And it has 2 words on it. Simply, I picked up at Walden Pond in Massachusetts, but it says, simplify, simplify.
Yeah.
It's from Thoreau or Through. Lots of people like to pronounce his name different ways, but
Okay.
I like Thoreau. But, he and Emerson wrote some beautiful stuff that we'll speak more to later on, on Learn to Become. But the idea of simplicity, of the essential, of what matters most. Life's too short to get bogged down by the hamster wheel. All the demands, everything else, the circus. So it's an essential life, a good life.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for being with us.
Thanks for eavesdropping on our conversation that
Hey,
April
we
was...
broadcast it to them, dear.
I didn't broadcast it. I was just sitting here. I just want to have lunch. So in order to
All
get
right.
that, apparently I have to record a podcast with my wife.
Enough.
So.
We'll go get lunch. All right. Well, we hope that you will have a wonderful day of R&R. Rest
And relaxation, or routines and
or
responsibilities.
routines and responsibilities.
Whichever circus or hamster wheel you're a part of.
And please come visit us at learndobecome.com.